far this season, and most importantly, he's lived up to his nickname, the Big Puma. The Puma's comeback season reminds us here at Fox Sports Midwest that there have been some great nicknames over the years. For more, here's Jimmy the Cat Hayes.
By 2006, Lance Berkman was one of baseball's best power hitters. He was a three-time All-Star who led the Astros past the Cardinals for their first ever NL pennant. During a radio interview before the '06 season, Berkman said he didn't like the nickname Fat Elvis, even though he admitted to once eating a Twinkie thrown at him by a fan during a game. Lance said he was agile and athletic, like a Puma, and the nickname Big Puma stuck. Here at Fox Sports Midwest, Berkman's nickname leads us to look back at some of the other great nicknames in baseball's history. Along with the Big Puma, there is currently the Big Donkey, Big Poppy, and last year the Cardinals had Big Sweat. There was the Big Hurt, Big Daddy, the Big Train, the Big Unit, Big Poison, and there were two Big Cats. There are cat nicknames like Kitty or just plain Cat, and there are dogs like Wonder Dog, Bulldog, Prime Dog, and the O-Dog. Animals abound. We have Kung Fu Panda and El Caballo. Other favorites include Goose, Ducky, Hawk, Rhino, Baby Bull, Iron Horse, Catfish, Rat, and White Rat. Some nicknames describe a player's personality, like Sparky, The Lip, Iron Man, Cool Papa Bell, Spaceman, and of course, the Mad Hungarian. Then there was Sweet Lou, which never made any sense. And there were players with nicknames that made you hungry, like Cakes, Chili, the Georgia Peach, and of course, Big Mac. And some nicknames describe a hitter, like Hammerin' Hank, the Splendid Splinter, and the Sultan of SWAT. Other nicknames describe pitchers, like the Rocket, Wild Thing, and of course, the Freak. Nicknames have described infielders, like the Zamboni, Hoover, and the Wizard. Some nicknames referenced a player's style, like Joltin' Joe, Charlie Hustle, and even Bonehead for poor Fred Merkle. And some nicknames became first names, like Duke, Oil Can, and Chipper. Or, in the case of the Cardinals, Skip, Dizzy, and Red. Some nicknames describe a player at his best, like Mr. October. And then there is the franchise nickname, like Mr. Cub. And while Big Puma is one of the best nicknames going, you can't beat Donnie Baseball or Teddy Ballgame. And of course, the best nickname of them all, the Man.
Back of Milwaukee, and they'll see the Brewers on Tuesday night. Let's meet Clint Hurdle's lineup presented by Southwest Airlines. Jose Tabada, Alex Presley, Andrew McCutcheon, then Neil Walker, Garrett Jones, and Josh Harrison, who had a big day yesterday. Ronnie Cedeno, Michael McHenry, and Jeff Karstens, the pitcher. And Kyle Loesch, 11-8, again looking for career win number 100 today.
Needs to rebound from his last start and get a good first inning under his belt. Win number 100 is in his quest. Second effort at that.
And a bouncer up the middle and a base hit. Jose Tabada with a base hit. Recently rewarded with a 6-year extension. He's only 23 years of age. Let's take a look at the defense behind Loesch. Holiday, Jay, and Craig. Those three in the outfield. Freese, Terrio, Schumacher, and Berkman along the infield. And the battery today, Kyle Loesch and Gerald Laird. Alex Presley, the left fielder. The trend in baseball, Al, you see that a lot of organizations will give young players extensions like the Cardinals did with Jaime Garcia, and the Pirates have done that with Tabada.
You always run the risk that someone might become a little complacent, so you really do have to study the personality and the work ethic of the player. But they're very happy with their young right fielder. Presley really has struggled since coming off the disabled list. just 2 for 15, and he was activated for this series.
We're in the first, just underway here on Fox Sports Midwest. Third baseman for the Cardinals today is David Freese. He's in on the grass, anticipating a bunt by Presley.
The off day tomorrow, you rest Molina and Pujols, give them 2 days off, preparing for the showdown in Milwaukee.
And that's taken outside. 2 balls and no strikes.
Kyle Loesch, remember last time out, really got roughed up. Shortest outing of the year, 3 innings, highest amount of earned runs in a start this year, 8. And the first 3 batters gave the opposition, the Dodgers, a 3-run lead.
And that's in the dirt. The starters, all of them in this homestand, Al, have had 1 bad inning in which they've given up at least 3 earned runs in 1 inning.
And it's just not a trend that you would like to see. Now, the Cardinal offense at times has been able to overcome that.
3-0, and it's a pitch outside, ball 4. Not the kind of start that the Cardinals envision here for Loesch. It's coming on the heels of an ineffective start yesterday by Chris Carpenter. And here is Andrew McCutchen, the face of the franchise for the Pirates.
And Matt Kemp was the 3rd batter for the Dodgers, and he had a 3-run home run. Hopefully that's not a repeat.
That pitch misses low and away. 5 straight balls. McCutchen, truly a 5-tool player. Good arm, speed, power. He can do it all.
And he really has blossomed into one of the better center fielders in all of baseball.
Here's a 1-0 pitch. You hear that term 5-tool player. You hear it thrown around rather loosely, but this guy truly is.
Yeah, I used to hear it a lot, 5-tool player, and sometimes you'd say, yeah, 5 tools, but he can't play the game. You know, he could do everything before a game and impress the scouts, but once the game started, he didn't know how to play it.
7 straight balls by Kyle Loesch, and this crowd already upset.
Ken, you touched on it yesterday. You did a great job on the Fox broadcast on Big Fox. And,
thank you, sir.
And you just talked about how Cardinals haven't taken advantage of having a great home crowd and a great atmosphere to play in.
Big crowd today for the bobblehead afternoon.
No, they want to cheer. Just at times they don't have anything to cheer for.
You're right. And it's 1-0 Pirates. That ball was smoked into center field. McCutchen will stop at first base. Might have been able to advance with that throw. Tabata scores, and it's 1-0 Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's a little surprising that he didn't go to second once he saw the throw go to third. '78th RBI. That's second most by a National League center fielder. Presley gets himself over to third with his good speed, and right now the Cardinals would sacrifice a run for a double play.
Neil Walker pulled foul. Neil is hitting .276, 11 home runs, and he's driven in 76 this year. Hit a home run yesterday on a 3-2 pitch from Carpenter, his only hit in this series.
His last 2 home runs have been against the Cardinals.
And 2. Get more into it in the third, but Jim Hayes had an interview with John Mozeliak on the pregame show and talked about what's gone wrong this season. You can look at starting pitching. You can look at the fact that Adam Wainwright was hurt early on. That was a big blow. to say the least. Back into games, the bullpen. On the inside corner, and a strikeout. While the offense statistically has been very good, you look at times, though, Al, where it just has been non-existent in games when they need it.
I've been shut out 8 times, 4 of those at home. And it's just good pitching will shut down the Cardinals offense.
And there's a strike.
And I don't think there's any doubt that every facet of the game this season has been troublesome at a time or two for the Cardinals, whether it's bullpen, starting pitching, offense, defense, base running.
Garrett Jones hitting .252, 15 home runs, 54 RBIs. Outfield straightaway and deep. Beautiful day here in St. Louis, 83 degrees. Sun is shining brightly. Cardinals in the midst of 16 of 19 here at Busch Stadium. Only 3 on the road. Will be again on Tuesday night in Milwaukee. Here's a ground ball. Berkman has it out there, back to first, and a double play. Could have been a lot more damage here at the top of the first, and Loesch gets out of that jam. It's 1-0. So we move to the bottom of the first. And no Albert Pujols in the lineup today. It's brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Jay, Craig, and Holiday. Berkman, Freese, Schumacher, Terrio, Laird, and Loesch. Jeff Karstens for Pittsburgh, Al.
Well, look at the variance in his fastball to his slow curveball. 92 on the high side, 66. Very good add and subtract guy. He reads the intention of a hitter very well, and he'll read that swing, knows when to add a little bit more or take a little off. And he has allowed 21 home runs, but of those 21 home runs, 19 are solo shots.
0-2 here on John Jay. Just missed. Pirates went out and got Ryan Ludwig, who's been injured with back spasms. Derek Lee dealing with a hand injury. Picked him up from Baltimore. Here's a ground ball that's foul. And in retrospect, the Pirates, while they did need offense, they're 4th from the bottom in the National League. They have said probably if they could do it over again, they try to find starting pitching. Pitching wasn't quite as effective that it once was first half of the season. Backhanded by Walker. 1 away. Defense behind Karstens. Presley, McCutchen, and Tabata in the outfield. Harrison, Cedeno, Walker, and Jones along the infield. And it's Karstens and McHenry. Brought to you by Dobbs.
Going back to your statement, probably the first 3.5 months, it was the starting pitching that really set the tone.
Exactly.
But at the trade deadline, they had a lot of their, outfielders were hurt. They had a lot of injuries there, so it made sense. The smart thing that the Pirates did is they didn't disturb their young talent and trade off young talent. They just spent money getting veterans.
Base hit up the middle for Alan Craig. He's hitting close to 500 this year against Pittsburgh. Let's turn to our Toyota keys to the game. Karstens against St. Louis, Loesch against Pittsburgh, and what they've done. Both have had success. You see the better record for Loesch in those 13 starts, but the ERA 2.19 for Karstens. Even though he doesn't get a lot of run support, he still has 1 win.
Yeah, Loesch an awful lot of run support, over 6.5 runs, and less than 2 for Karstens.
Matt Holliday, bobblehead day.
Got a bobblehead, you got to do something special on your day.
Met a gentleman today with an Al Rabaski jersey. Brought him into the booth. He was awfully excited to meet you, Al. He was.
He was a nice guy.
He was pumped up. Holiday rips it out to deep left field. And that ball is off the wall. John Jay the third, or rather Craig the third, he'll stop there, and it's a double. The scoreboard room started the horn thinking it was a home run. It was not. Off the top of the wall, and a double for Matt Holliday. Foxmo brought to you by Plaza Tires.
There you see Oquendo holding up Alan Craig with just one out, and Berkman coming up. It's the 32nd double of the season for Matt Holliday on his bobblehead day. Got to have a big day on your bobblehead. He's off to a start.
Here's Lance Berkman at first base today.
Lance very critical of the 3:10 afternoon starts because of the shadows, and for such an accomplished hitter, it's surprising to hear him talk about it. It's kind of a joke, and you know, it really reduces the game down to a 4-inning game. But we don't have to worry about that with a 120 start.
I really thought Lincoln was just effective.
I think so too. And the Cardinals have always had that that problem facing a guy for the first time in the rotation. I think he's pitched a little bit out of relief against him, but he did a nice job of containing the offense.
Off speed pitch, misses low. 2 balls, no strikes.
They did have the one opportunity with the bases loaded.
Yeah. Cardinals good opportunity here.
Now they're going to put him on. Go behind 2-0.
Load him up for David Freese, who's on deck. How about that first inning? You run the risk of really having a big inning go against you.
Well, they're talking about, they're feeling the Cardinals, who lead the major leagues in double plays, they're looking for that. They're looking for the double play ball. David Freese has other things in mind. Last year, and remember, David went out about June with his ankle injury, required additional surgery. But last year, the first time up, he had a extremely high, almost 70% of his RBIs came in his first at bat. Wouldn't that be nice right here?
Bases loaded, 1 out. Cardinals lead the league in hitting into double plays. They hit into 2 yesterday.
They're up to 143 on the season.
Pirates lead the league in turning double plays.
That's part of the strategy.
0-2.
Freeze's power is out to right center.
A little bit surprised. We talked about it the other night. They don't shade him that way.
They do not.
Oh, 2 pitch.
Pretty good rip at it. And we talk about add and subtracting. So Karstens is a guy that says, okay, he's pretty much on my 90-mile-an-hour fastball. I either have to to elevate it, but yet his high is 92, so it's more likely that he will take velocity off and try to throw off the swing of David Freese.
1-2. Nice play by McHenry.
There was the breaking ball at 73 miles an hour. He'll throw a curveball, kind of a sloppy, flop it up there curveball as low as 66 miles an hour. And they also say that he'll has that ability just to change speeds. A lot of times it look like a changeup, but it's really kind of a BP fastball.
He's set, and here's the 1-2 pitch with the bases loaded. Freese puts it into play off the end of the bat. Only play to go to first. A run scores, and we're tied up. It's 1-1. David Freese picks up the RBI, his 43rd.
Would have been very tough to turn 2 with that little squibbler, but Karstens didn't help the cause when, right as he got to the point of fielding the ball, he looked to home plate, and then he didn't allow the ball to go into his glove. He's checking the runner, and there's no way they were going to get Alan Craig.
Alan Craig safe at home, safe and secure, New York life. Runners at second and third now for Skip Schumacher. You have to wonder about John Mozeliak, Al, and Skip's another one of those guys that's up after this year. At what point do they start approaching the players that they want even this season before they hit free agency? Just so you have a better idea of what you're dealing with budget-wise in trying to sign Pujols.
And now Skip Schumacher is such a big part of the Cardinals and in that clubhouse. He's not eligible. He would have, what, 5+ years, but wouldn't be eligible for free agency. But his last year of arbitration. And you know, I always talk about a player not pricing himself out of the market. And Skip's not that tight.
And I know he wants to stay here. So comfort level, and you know, obviously, if he's going to be a bench player with his versatility, he's going to get a lot of at bats playing for Tony.
Correct, and I think what you do is you go, you know, Skip, we're not going to let you go to arbitration, but here's where we think you would fall into. If you agree to this, we'll sign you, and if you don't, well, good luck to you. Become a free agent.
Hit to the left side, diving stop, no play. Diving into first, Schumacher, as Holiday scores, and it's 2-1. Cedeno saved a run with that diving stop. And then Schumacher, for the second time in this series, diving into first.
Well, here Cedeno really has displayed a lot of range. He looks to see the runner at third. He knew he had no chances. Schumacher, but, you know, always hustling. You know, they try to tell him that, hey, you don't get there any quicker by diving head first, but he's not quite sure. But, you know, he's assuming the throw's going to be made there, and he's trying to get to the first base bag as soon as he can.
Ryan Theriot, ground ball left side. That's a base hit. Berkman scores, and it's 3-1 Cardinals.
This is the offense that we've come to like and appreciate. Just need a good game here to win this 4-game set, 3-1, and really set the tone to enjoy the off day, and then just see, you know, what you've got in Milwaukee. Oh, maybe you can pick up a game today, even if you don't. You've got to play hard in Milwaukee, and it's best to come in with a little winning streak.
Did you ever tell Dave McKay that you want him to take another number?
No.
Dave, get that 39 off your back.
He can have it. I think he has worn it proudly for 16 years.
2 outs, and here is Gerald Laird. Swing and a miss.
He's worn it twice as long as I did with the Cardinals.
Well, they all have been here, this coaching staff, a long time.
And I mean, I got kicked out for not shaving. And now 39 can grow a beard, you know, or facial hair.
Here's the 0-1 to Laird. You can see that he does not throw very hard. Those off-speed pitches are slow.
And we haven't seen his slowest one yet. Slowest we've seen is 70 miles an hour, but he can slop one up there at 66.
Strike on the outside corner, 1-2. Out in front, pops it into shallow left. Cedeno out and makes the catch. Cardinals strand 2, but they pick up 3 on 4 base hits. 3-1 after 1. Run. Good start for the Cardinals. They lead it 3-1. Let's see if that gives Loesch a little jolt. He did not look very good in that first inning.
No, but it's a pick-me-up. And fortunately, a lot of times the Cardinals starters have not been successful in the first inning, and all of a sudden the offense feels like, oh, here we go again. We got to come from behind. Well, today they have, and now it's up to Loesch to have a shutdown inning.
So Ryan Theriot breaking 0 for 10 streak. RBI single. Berkman as well. Skip Schumacher RBI. Line drive down the right field line. That's trouble. It's a fair ball. This is Josh Harrison, third baseman, that had 3 RBIs yesterday and starts this ball game off with a double.
He had a second 3-hit, 3 RBI game yesterday.
Clint Hurdle trying to get an extended look at Harrison, as well as yesterday's starter Lincoln. Plaza Tire Service, Fox Exmo Cam, the slicing ball into right field, and Berkman picking it up. Yeah, Harrison's had the opportunity with Pedro Alvarez, who was the 2nd pick in the country. Now they say he is completely lost at the plate right now.
Well, and he had success. He's out of, college player, just had awesome stats, breezed through the minor leagues, came up here and achieved success. And then this year, everything has fallen apart. But still, he was one of the guys that they were planning on building their franchise around him, and McCutcheon and a few others.
Pirates may look to upgrade at shortstop next year, but they've been pleased with Cedeno, especially what he's done defensively for their club.
He really has shown great range, not many errors, and he's always hit the Cardinals well.
2 balls, 1 strike. There is a huge gap left center field. John Jay is shallow and shading him to right.
See what he's done against Kyle Loesch, .412 average. There you see the defense. Well, I've seen a lot of balls them hit to left field and left center. They are pitching him away. Something we used to be, you pitch a guy according to how your defense is. That rarely happens today.
Here's a 3-1 pitch to Cedeno. 3-2. Weather-wise, it is gorgeous here in the middle of America. Just a beautiful day for baseball. Big crowd on hand. A 3-2 pitch. Ground ball, and it's a base hit into left center. Run will score to make it 3-2. And with the fact that John Jay was so far and right, I thought Cedeno might think about taking 2.
Good point. As playing in the hole a little bit, Theriot can't get to it. John Jay had him to hit the ball out in right center, not left center. So Harrison's going to score easily. John Jay had to go to his right, and then would have to stop and throw across his body. I got a question for you, Dan.
Yes, sir.
How comfortable are you with the Cardinal starters going into next year?
I think that's a great question, and it's something that is complicated with the fact that you have contracts. Now, they have picked up the options for Wainwright. That's definitely going to be a guy that comes back, but Carpenter's option is at $15 million. You have Westbrook tied up, Loesch tied up. Garcia long-term deal, but as John Mozeliak was saying on the pregame show, it's something, everything's on the table in his mind, trying to address this team.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously it'll be a big improvement getting Wainwright back.
Line drive, base hit, right center field. McHenry on his way to second. They'll hold up Cedeno at third. It's a double, the second in the inning, second in the game. 5 hits already against Loesch.
5 hits and a walk, and here we are in 1+ innings.
And remember, Loesch only made it through 3 innings in his last start. Right down the middle.
Right down the middle, and a little inside-out stroke from a McHenry, who had not been swinging the bat well. In our Plaza Tire Exmo cam. Good camera work at the foot going across the bag. Chinsky.
And missed something. Chance to get out of the inning. You've got the pitcher here. Karstens, who's hitting .095. No balls, 2 strikes. Just trying to record the first out here. Zabchinski's a guy that would be intriguing, thinking about starting.
I mean, like you said, you know, where the pitcher's under contract, and I would think it would be very difficult to move, to put a couple of the guys in trades. I need to create a vacancy for Zabchinski. Mentor Carpenter has the option. He said he would love to come back and finish his career with the Cardinals. So you'd think that even if you don't pick up the option, you could pay him what the buyout is, probably $1 million, and then bring him back at maybe a little bit reduced. And hey, you need the money to help sign Pujols. When a player.
Good play here by Schumacher. Takes the hit away, and now the runner is caught between second and third. Cedeno to the plate, and they throw it away. Run scores, Cedeno scores, and we're tied up 3-3.
Boy, how many times we've seen that play? There you go. He's throwing off balance, so he doesn't have the arm strength to get it there. One hops Laird. He tries to catch it, make the sweep tag. It goes over off his glove, over the shoulder. Pushes Cedeno so he never touches the plate, but he does come back and retouch it.
Runner scores on a fielder's choice on that play. 1 out runner at third. We're tied up 3-3.
Bad base running by McHenry, and they get away with it.
Air charge to the shortstop. That's Terrio today. One ball, 1 strike.
Watch rundown plays, double plays that are not made, giving teams extra outs.
Two-1 is hit to second. Run will score. 4-3 Pirates. Tabata picks up the RBI, his 20th of the year.
Goes to show you that you don't have to get a base hit all the time to score a run.
Tony has talked about wanting to see guys finish with some fire in that belly, and may not win the division, but finish the year still pushing.
I am very sensitive, to ever questioning somebody's, heart or effort. Because I knew when at the end of my career, when things weren't going well for me, I knew I thought I still was playing hard. So it's very easy to throw some careless phrases out there or something, but these guys care. They want to finish strong. Sometimes it's trying too hard.
Two and two the count. And Presley hits a ground ball right side. Loesch can't get there at the bag. They throw it away. Nothing going right now for Kyle Loesch.
It's going to be a base hit all the way. Just perfectly placed.
Hyundai Foxmo, let's take a look at it. You're right, though, perfectly placed.
Berkman gets it, throws it to Loesch, but at this point the runner had already was safe, and Loesch missing it didn't allow him to go any further.
The off day tomorrow. You already saw Zepchinski up and throwing, so Tony La Russa would not stick long with Loesch if he doesn't like what he sees.
The one thing I don't like about that, though, Dan, is then he's probably not available, even with the off day, probably not available for Tuesday in a very important series.
Runner at first and 2 outs. Andrew McCutchen, RBI base hit back in the first. 4-3 Pittsburgh here in the top of the second.
Pirates stole 90 bases this season. And Gerald Laird back there, you'd think they'd want to run.
Yeah, Molina caught 2 in this series, another one yesterday.
Gerald Laird has the capability of throwing out runners, but it's not Molina.
Here's the 0-2 instead of check on the runner at first.
Presley, a young, a little speedster, but probably not a very accomplished base runner yet.
8 for 18, McCutchen. That's updated with that base hit back in the first off of Loesch. Two pitch on its way. Pirates are ready with 6 base hits. They've scored 4 runs. Do it again.
Another changeup. This time he did get it to the bottom of the strike zone. Was it 08 when Loesch's first year won 15 ball games? Remember how good Dave Duncan just said, hey, use that sinker. It's really good. He does have a good slider, and he's gotten a lot of improvement in that changeup. But still, your bread and butter pitch is that sinker.
It's sharply to short. Terrio up with it. Flips to Schumacher. Pirates pick up 3 runs, and they pick up the lead. You drive for Team USA event and get behind the wheel of a BMW to show your support. Here's Kyle Loesch. Bottom of the second. Pirates lead it by the score of 4-3. fly ball into center. McCutchen cruising to it, makes the play. We saw that ball that he went and got off the bat of Pujols last series against Pittsburgh that saved a run, maybe saved the game.
Yeah, there was no doubt McCutchen has tremendous speed, and he was playing Pujols over in the right center.
Right.
And he closed the gap and made it into left center. He even said, everyone remarking what a great play, and he goes, I didn't think it was that big a deal. I didn't even have to dive. But he covered a lot of ground.
Oh man, can he run?
And that looked like that ball was going to get down and score a couple.
2-0 on John Jay, the Cardinal leadoff man. One out here in the second. Alec Craig on deck. Jay, base hit. 1 for 2. carsoup.com/Cardinals to send us your email to booth questions. Carsoup.com will answer one of those later in the ball game. Here's Alec Craig, who singled and scored in the first inning. May have noticed this weekend and watching the Pirates on their sleeve the star and the 7. It's in honor and the memory of Chuck Tanner.
I miss him around the ballpark, don't you?
You really do. He was at every home game, Pittsburgh.
See him in the lunchroom, and of course I competed against him and his teams for a long time, but just a really good guy.
1 out, runner at first. I wonder too, in thinking about this offseason, if the Cardinals would, if they can, like to upgrade their team speed some way, somehow.
Well, you would think they would definitely want to try. On McGuire a couple weeks ago kidded with me, goes, Tony's got all this speed and doesn't know what to do with it. He was kidding, though.
1 ball, 1 strike. Cardinals this year have really been station to station, sitting back in. You don't have speed, it's tough to put runners in motion or do some of the things I'm sure that Tony would like to do.
Now, we've already had 11 hits in this ball game, but when you're not hitting, it's hard to see a lot of life in a ball club. I think we'd all love to see a little bit more movement. Don't have a lot of base stealing speed, but maybe hitting behind runners, starting a runner.
Milwaukee's jumped out to a 1-0 lead on Chicago. And here you go. 4-6-3. There's your double play. And it's 4-3 Pittsburgh. For the third, it's 4-3 in favor of the Pirates. It'll be Walker, Jones, and Harrison. Along with the Mad Hungarian, Al Raboski, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Jim Hayes is with us, too, here for our third inning. Walker struck out his first time up. Strike 1. Very nice interview, Jim, on the pregame show with John Mozeliak, the Cards GM, and he is going to be busy.
Yeah, he knows, as he calls it, a laundry list of things he'd like to accomplish. And he said, I found it interesting, that he'd like to take care of a couple things, being signings, re-sign, whatever. He'd like to get them done by October. Simply thinking, let's make that list a little shorter as soon as we possibly can, and then get to the rest of it.
1-1. Well, the big one is Albert Pujols, and both sides decided not to negotiate in season or really even talk about it. No need to, because there's no negotiations going on. But you wonder, Al, if the Cardinals take a hard stance and say to Albert's representation, by this date, we need to have a yes or no, because we need to take that money and allocate it other places.
Well, I think Cardinal ownership and John Mozeliak have determined what they can afford to pay Albert Pujols. And even, you know, if you make that offer and they don't accept it, well, it's academic. And I think his laundry list that you can get done in October is other than Albert Pujols.
Absolutely.
Because you have to wait until after the World Series is completed.
3-2 is hit in the air down the left field line. This could be trouble. And it's a foul ball.
Now the Cardinals will have, I believe it's a 10-day period to be the only ones that can negotiate with Albert or their own free agents. And there you see how far foul. But and I think, in fairness to Albert and his camp, that if you've gone the entire season with playing without, you know, a contract, then you have to, you know, you have to owe it to yourself to find out what your value is from other ball clubs. So I don't see how the Cardinals can wait, you know, let Prince Fielder set the market for first basemen and then try to sign afterwards and get that laundry list completed.
Second walk issued by Loesch, dealing with base runners all afternoon.
And John was saying that the work is well underway for formulating some sort of battle plan, knowing that whether or not they want to bring this guy back depends on if they can get this guy back. It's so complex, and one move, even without Pujols in the equation, depends on another move. So they've got sort of a fluid battle plan that they're ready to put into place and try to knock some things off the list.
Good changeup. Each half inning, Loesch has allowed that leadoff hitter, so working from the stretch time and time again. Garrett Jones, the first baseman. Hit into a double play, his first time up.
A young, hungry team like the Pirates, you keep on giving them opportunities, walking players, or allowing that first batter to reach per inning. You know, they're going to start just doing their oats and just kind of say, okay, we'll take this game.
I'm sure Mo and Tony are probably surprised the fact that the club made these kind of deals. You get a look at Clint Hurdle, and normally you see a team make a deal and just sends a jolt through the clubhouse and a little bit of energy, and we have not seen that with these deals.
No, and Tony was very adamant, saying, hey, it's up to the players. Ownership, front office have done their part to try and give them a little jolt, as you said, at the trade deadline.
Strikeout number 2 for Kyle Loesch.
To me, if you look at the way the season's gone, you can put the burden in a lot of different places. Early on, the bullpen, at times the rotation hasn't been good, and as good as the offense has been, there have been times that they've been silenced by, you know, average type pitching. But John says he feels that the loss of Wainwright, even though they overcame it and played so well in the early going, took its toll eventually and wore the rotation down, and he thinks that was part of the issue.
It's big. I mean, when you have that kind of horse at the top of your rotation, it's huge to lose him.
Well, we said you can't replace him, but first half we kept on always talking about, you know, it looks like they've done a good job of battling through it, and something could be said, you know, maybe the fatigue factor or just the wear and tear on them, but not like they're throwing 300 innings.
I know they wanted Ryan Franklin to be the guy, but they stuck with him, and time again it just did not work. Back end of the bullpen has to be addressed, and you have to wonder if that's Jason Mott.
Well, Tony La Russa said in one of his recent post games that he would certainly give Jason a shot at the 9th inning. Jason has been very, very good at coming in the 8th guys on base and just getting out of a jam for the Cardinals. And for him, and he's one of those guys I think that really tells it like it is. He said, closing, fine. I'm fine with what I'm doing, and I'm not going to change anything. And he puts the recent success that he's had on using his secondary pitch a little bit more. He said it's not really confidence or location. It's I'm showing that pitch, and maybe I have more confidence in that pitch. And he said that's been a huge help.
2-1. Could be a double play ball. Out at second. Second turn by the Cardinals this afternoon. Midway through 3, and it's 4-3 Pittsburgh. Missouri Lottery bringing you the Fox tracks this half inning. Follow up on that closer spot. We saw Fernando Salas, Cardinals down by 7 runs yesterday, Al, getting loose. So gives you an indication maybe down the stretch that we won't see Fernando in that spot. Maybe we will, but maybe Jason Mott. Maybe it's Kyle McClellan gets a few looks at that ninth inning too.
Well, I talked to Tony the other day, and you know, Salas has really saved them and done a very good job. But I think, without putting words in Tony's mouth, I think they would like to see if they could upgrade the closer spot. And I particularly asked him, I said, well, what about Jason Mott this last month? See about him. And
it's sharply to third. Harrison a good play.
And much like what Jimmy had to say is Tony said, look, Jason Mott is just doing a phenomenal job in the role we've got him right now. The only problem that he sees right now is that he's a one-pitch pitcher and feels that, particularly facing left-handed batters, if they really started watching video like all the clubs do, they would know that they only have one pitch to worry about. So that's why it's so important for him to, you know, at least be able to convince a team that he can get a breaking ball over or a sinker over, something other than just his big hard fastball that usually just rearing back and throwing.
The Cardinals are also intrigued by Lance Lynn.
Well,
they'd like him to come back, and also Sanchez, if he could come back and get a look at those two guys. But in particular, I know that they're very interested to see how Lance Lynn, when healthy, could do in that role.
Tony, as I was trying to talk about some of the options, he mentioned Lance Lynn in a very favorable fashion. The only problem is you'd love to see him, you know, this last month be able to throw. It's still a question mark whether he's going to be able to come back at all this year. So you miss that opportunity to see what he would do in the final month.
We understand that Jaime Garcia, Jim, will be skipped a spot in the rotation.
Yeah, they were saying basically that they're bringing up a young pitcher and they're going to take a look at him, and it's nothing against Jaime, but it's been a long season. So the Cardinals feel like at this point they can look at some other things, and as John Mozeliak pointed out in the pregame show, they're not going to do things where they're total experiments. They're going to put guys who they feel they might have to depend on down the road who can do the job in certain positions now and see what they have.
It's an old baseball adage. Don't get tricked by what you see in September or spring training.
And the player that they're talking about, it sounds like Brandon Dixon would be the one that comes up to make that start. The guy, and I talked to John Vooch about this, the Cardinal farm director, the guy that they have been so pleased with in the minor leagues, and if they could find a way to get him up there, they would, is Nick Stavinoa. And the reason that they're so happy for him, he's had a monster season, numbers-wise, home runs, RBIs, runner goes, hit and run, and it's a foul ball. But they said Stavinoa didn't go down there and pout or be a bad influence on young players or be upset with his role on that team. They said he's been tremendous. John Mozeliak and John Vooch up there. Fox.
And knowing Stavinoa, you know, that's going to be expected. And you know, you reach a point, sure, you'd love to be with the team that you originally signed with, but at some point you become a realist and you go, hey, there's 29 other clubs out there.
And he worked very hard to make himself a fairly decent pinch hitter.
Yes.
And he showed at the major league level he can do that job. So you think if the Cardinals don't have plans for him, someone might.
Yeah, that's really true. I mean, he was taken off the 40-man roster, and that's why the difficulty and clearing a spot for him to come back.
1-2. Instead, another check on Berkman.
But let's also be realistic. You know, the Cardinals have many more needs than another guy coming off the bench to pinch hit.
Strikeout for Karstens. First of the afternoon.
Kind of the funny thing too, Dan, is and Cat is, you know, when the Cardinals had a lot of injuries, you kind of felt like, well, wait till they get healthy. And once they got healthy, it didn't give them a shot in the arm either.
No. I was asking Tony La Russa what kind of toll this season took, aside from his health issues, but to have a team that they're just waiting as Skip Schumacher gets a base hit, but waiting for that run. You know, everyone's waiting for this run, and the team has the ability, you would think, to do that. And Tony says right now he's going to try to win games, and the mind game that he plays with himself is that he just considers every game Game 7 of the World Series, and he's going to continue to manage in that way.
Skip Schumacher, Hyundai Expo Cam shows you he's back at 300.
Well, I'm not sure we've seen a better player last month maybe than the guy standing at first, and that's Schumacher.
He's led the ball club since the All-Star break. Came in batting 345 since the All-Star break, and he's 2 for 2 today. So, and what was it, Braun's the only one that's hit higher than Schumacher's 345,
right,
+2
since early June. So 2 outs and 2 on. Here's Ryan Theriot, picked up an RBI single first time up. Outfield is straight away, and here's the 0-1 pitch. Cardinals and Pirates both with 6 hits this afternoon. Well, if it's Game 7 of the World Series today, I think Albert would be in the lineup, Jim. Line drive, base hit out to left. Here comes Berkman. Schumacher caught the rundown. They dropped the baseball, but Cedeno will run him down. Ryan Theriot's tied it up, his second RBI of the day. 42nd on the year. It's a 4-4 game. Ages 16 and older receive a gray and pink knit scarf. There's a strike to Ronnie Cedeno. It's for breast cancer awareness. Visit cardinals.com/promotions Friday, September 9th.
See if Kyle Loesch can't have a real efficient inning. He's thrown 20, you know, he's averaged 20 pitches per inning.
0-2 pitch. Working a little quickly here in this 4th inning.
It's a real fine line between working quickly and too quickly.
At times we've seen that with Westbrook. Two and two. Cedeno, run scored, RBI single back in the 2nd inning. Popped up right side. Schumacher going out. And the catch is made. Alan Craig, who's in right today. First time today that he's retired the leadoff hitter of an inning.
And Dan, this really should be an efficient inning. When you have 7, 8, 9, you always concentrate, but I always found it, you know, to really concentrate on 7, 8, and 9. You should just absolutely go right through that part of the order. You own that part of the order. Then you've got to keep the speedsters 1 and 2 off base. And the guys 3, 4, and 5 are always going to, be damaged guys. So you got to make sure there's nobody on in front of them.
Most guys will tell you how when they work quickly, it's a sign of them having confidence and really sending a message. They like to work quickly because they believe in their stuff and they want to go right at the hitter.
It's a very good point. The pitcher wants to set the tone.
Think about Carpenter and his approach to his starts. Works quickly. Westbrook, one of the fastest in all of baseball.
So times the Cardinals think he works too fast.
2-1 pitch is hit high in the air. Left center. John Jay.
And Loesch well on his way to having that very efficient inning.
Two outs, nobody on, and a strike to Karstens. Rounded out to second, first time up. Won't be easy for St. Louis when they head to Milwaukee, facing Sean Markham, Randy Wolf, and Giovanni Gallardo. Cardinals will have Edwin Jackson, Jake Westbrook. It sounds like Brandon Dixon. One ball and 2 strikes.
The one difference between the Cardinals this season and Milwaukee is they have a great offense too, but they had a period of time, even in this hot streak, where their offense was not scoring any runs, and yet their pitching was so good that they were winning 1-0, 2-1, 2-1 extra inning games. And then they got their offense back, and the good pitching continued. They're leading 1-0 again here in the bottom of the 5th.
Loesch thought he had a strikeout. 2-2. Struck out 2 on the day. Hey, you think of the back end of their games too now with K-Rod at Axford. They picked up Greinke and Markham. Essentially, they went all in this year, knowing that Fielder probably won't be back next season. Money that they have dedicated to a long-term contract went to Ryan Braun. Here's a 2-2 pitch on the outside corner, a strikeout. Laird, Loesch, and Jay coming up. Cardinals about hit Pittsburgh 7-6 in this ball game. And Laird out in front pops it up. Neil Walker, the outfield grass, makes the catch.
Hard to hit when you're way out on your front foot.
I'm going to ask you, have you ever heard of somebody saying that it's counterproductive to catch a ball with 2 hands?
No.
Mitch Williams.
Yeah, but consider the source.
I did.
Can you explain it to me?
in his mind, it's counterproductive. I think Ricky has said this too, that it's counterproductive to catch with two hands because they feel you impede vision. Now, I don't understand that, but that's what I've heard. I'm just asking you a question, Al. It's a lazy Sunday afternoon. I figured I'd bring it up.
Well, I disagree.
I do too. I was thinking of it when Walker made the catch with one hand and off way to the side too.
Yeah, I mean, in my mind, you know, what if there's a runner at third base and he's about 10 more feet in the outfield grass? Look at how much time it's going to take him to reach his throwing hand into the glove and come up and throw. But what happens if, you know, he gets a snow cone or the ball pops up?
I'm with you.
You have the other hand to secure it. I would think that major league players are athletically inclined, that they would not obscure their vision catching a ball with two hands. But to each their own.
One out, runner at first, no balls, one strike. The wild thing, Mitch Williams.
You were supposed to work with him, but a victim of Hurricane Irene, huh?
That's right. Travel was an issue. Harrison is over and can't make the play.
Good effort. See the young third baseman go over, checks to see where that wall is, and apparently didn't read it very well.
Oh, 2 is hit down the right field line. Fair ball. Loesch on his way to third. John Jay in with a double at second base.
John Jay has had some fun. He's 2 for 3 today. He is now 5 for 10 in facing this pitcher, Karstens. Hanging breaking ball. Stayed really up there. Had a real loop. Then he gets it around about the knees, around thigh high rather than down off the ankles. And a double down into the right field corner. Where Loesch can help himself because he's a good athlete.
Runners at second and third. A quick visit on the mound for the Pirates. Alan Craig here, and then we'll see Matt Holliday.
Who we saw earlier in this series and pitched very well against the Cardinals, warming up. Alan Craig 1 for 2. Single and scored back in the first inning and hit into a double play in the second. 2 men out there.
Outfield is straight away and deep for Alan Craig. Seen Karstens out drop down and change the arm angle a little bit on his pitches.
Yeah, and that's another strong strength of Karstens, that he can do that on every pitch. He'll throw from different angles and just to give a little twist.
Off speed pitch, hit out of play, 2 strikes.
Karstens looking for his 10th win, so not one of his better outings, but right now he's in a tie. Already allowed 9 hits to the Cardinals.
Right center, tailing, and the catch is made by McCutchen. Both runners will tag up. It's an RBI for Alan Craig, his 28th of the year.
Alan Craig, just like David Freese, has great power to the opposite field, and he got a hanging breaking ball. And breaks the 4-4 tie with the sac fly.
And here's Holiday. A couple of hard hit balls this afternoon. Double in the first, grounded out to third, sharply to Harrison.
And Clint Hurdle's seen enough from his starter as he'll go to the bullpen now and bring in LaRue.
So Karsten's unavailable to get to the fifth. 2 outs, runner at third. Holiday will be the hitter when we come back on this Sunday afternoon from Busch. Here's our AT&T trivia question. Who is the last pitcher to win 15 plus straight games while receiving 3 or more runs in support? Last to do it, Joaquin Andahar for the Cardinals, 18 straight, 1985. Justin Verlander picked up another win yesterday. He's the first 20-game winner in baseball. Chevy called to the pen. It's the right-hander LaRue.
We saw him earlier in this series. Struck out 3 batters and allowed just 1 hit, tossing 2 2/3 scoreless innings on Thursday night. Been scored upon just once in his first 8 starts, or excuse me, 8 games with the Pirates. And this is his 3rd stint with the Buccos this year.
Outfield deep for Matt Holliday. Max Scherzer, St. Louisan, Mizzou alum. He's in the top 5 in wins in the American League. 13.
I was really surprised when Arizona traded him.
Me too.
And I'm just going by memory, but was that the Edwin Jackson deal?
May have been. I think it was. I was surprised when they traded Danny Herron too.
2 of the best. You know, Danny's getting up there a little bit, but he's not that old.
No.
And obviously one of the best pitchers.
There's a strike on the outside corner.
Not a lot of bats or comparisons between LaRue and Cardinal hitters. For example, Holiday's 0 for 1.
The Bellmans are here. Proud sponsors of Cardinal baseball, the Bellman Automotive Group. Holiday grounds to short, and the Cardinals retake the lead. John Jay with a double, left stranded. He's got 2 hits on the afternoon. Tom Pagnazzi.
Gee, I thought maybe the truck would miss that.
My guess would be, Al, that they will be first in line in the Ford Plaza to get the autograph. Tabata, 1 ball, 1 strike.
I guess it would be a little different line they'll be first in. So Bloch can settle down here and eat up some innings and pick up his 100th victory and his 12th win.
On the outside corner and a strikeout for Loesch. One of those games, Al, you ask him to grind through.
Well, right now he's settling down.
Yep. 4 strikeouts on the afternoon to go along with a pair of walks. He's allowed 6 hits and 4 runs.
Struggled in the first and second, but shut him down since then and allowed his teammates to get overtake the Pirates and have a 1-run lead.
1 out, nobody on. Here's Presley, who has walked and also singled back in the 2nd inning. Third baseman David Freese on the grass. Last 3 seasons, you see what Loesch has done. Swing and a miss on a changeup.
I think it, you're looking at the last couple of years, it's just really those numbers are skewed by the forearm surgery he had. Very unusual for a pitcher.
Two pulled foul. You can make a case that Kyle Loesch had the best spring training of anybody this year, coming out of Jupiter, and you're hoping that would carry over to the season. And before it's all said and done, he has an outside shot to get 14, 15 wins.
He's the staff leader in wins right now.
It's Terrio now at second, and for College is shortstop. We saw after Alan Craig went into the dugout, he went straight to the tunnel. You have to wonder if he aggravated something or injured himself. Schumacher now in right field.
Or is it just, Tony, after guys get a couple at bats, starts putting in his defensive team?
You wouldn't think midway through, would you?
Well, usually says 3 at bats and put in my defensive squad.
Only with a 1-run lead. Here's a 1-2 pitch.
Catching 1 for 2, but he came in batting .412, 7 for 17, so now 8 for 19 against Kyle Loesch. Few of the Pirates had some big numbers against him.
Two and two. Pitch count in the mid 90s now for Kyle Loesch.
Wouldn't think he'd go too deep in this game. I'd love to see him go this inning and one more, but all depends on how strict they pay to that pitch count.
And that's hit out of play. Gorgeous afternoon here in St. Louis. Three-two pitch to McCutchen. Freeze. Makes the play. McCutchen retired. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Kyle Loesch. Berkman leads it off when we come back. Kerry Robinson, walk-off homer against the Cubs.
Isn't that great?
Mm-hmm. Gary is now working for the club as a scout.
Yeah, St. Louis kid, very good athlete, loved to play hockey.
Great hockey player. Southeast Missouri State, then on to professional baseball. Here's Berkman, followed by Freese and Schumacher. Hit to short, Cedeno. Nice play on the backhand, and there's one away. First time that Berkman has been retired, and it brings in David Freese, who has an RBI.
No, is there maybe their shortstop of the future? You kind of talked about maybe they wanted to upgrade at shortstop, but Cedeno's been pretty steady.
So here is David Freese. And he takes ball one. Freese an RBI ground out with the bases loaded in the first, struck out swinging in the third. Tardy with that swing, 1 ball, 1 strike. Karstens 3 2/3. 5 runs, 9 hits, 2 walks, 1 strikeout, a sacrifice. Only 65 pitches for the starter of Pittsburgh. Three and one.
Now LaRue's got that big guy, arms and legs, and he kind of slings the ball up there. So he's a little tough on right-handed batters.
And it's way outside.
Happy birthday to Ellen Iman in Springfield, Missouri, is celebrating her 96th birthday today. Thanks, Ellen, for watching all the games and being a part of Cardinal Nation for 96 years.
One out and a runner at first base. Here's Schumacher. Pair of hits today. Tommy, our director today, he's been on it since the first pitch of the game. Al, he's been locked in. That's outside. Mike Helling, our producer.
Chinsky is warming up again. See if this scoring opportunity goes deep enough for him, or does the pitch count get Loesch?
Dan Hyatt, Dan Martinez, Keith Korn, and Keith Oberman. Brian McCann also working in that truck today. Throw behind the runner, and back in safely is Freese. They're awfully concerned with David Freese. I'd venture to say he's probably not going anywhere.
Yeah, he hasn't attempted. Oh, he is. He has not attempted to steal this season. And with his ankle problems, you don't expect him to run. but the Pirates for some reason do.
Two and two the count, one out, runner at first. And a swing and a miss. Schumacher strikes out. Two away.
Breaking ball that kind of noted on Thursday night when the Rue pitched that hitters just don't pick it up. Now he's got a good enough fastball that if you're looking for the breaking ball, he can throw that by you.
Two down, and here is Ryan Theriot. Hits it to third, force play at second. And that sends us to the top of the sixth. St. Louis on top, it's 5-4. Edwin Jackson and Sean Markham. Jackson 10-9, Markham 11-4. And Al and Rick will come your way at 6:30 on Fox Sports Midwest. It's our Budweiser What's on Tap. Zepchinski into the ball game, and it's our Chevy called to the pen.
Centerpiece of the Kobe Rasmus trade, and we're still trying to figure out quite how they're trying to use him. His 11th appearance has been very, very good. Cardinals kind of see him as starter potential, but they like to use him for multiple innings, and he's done that role very well. But if you wanted to have him as a left-handed specialist, look at the numbers when he came over with the trade. He had lefties batting well under 200. They're batting 167 and just 3 extra base hits this year. Cardinals like him better in a lefty specialist role.
Chevy will give you Fox tracks this half inning. And a strike.
Turns a switch hitter, Walker around. Not very big, but got some good weapons. Took a little off right there, swing over the top. And not only can he get the lefties out, but with the stuff he has, a lot of times he has as much, if not more, success against right-handed batters.
0-2 the count on Neil Walker. Lost his bat over the Pirates dugout into the seats. Strikeout for Zepchinski. Follow the Cardinals with MLB.com, @Bat11 app for your iPhone, iPad, Android, or BlackBerry. Pitch-by-pitch tracking, video highlights, and so much more. 318-26. Text @Bat to 31826 or visit Cardinals.com for details. Here's Garrett Jones, 1 out, nobody on. Line on Kyle Loesch, 5 innings, 4 runs, 6 hits, 1 earned run, pair of walks, 4 strikeouts, 99 pitches this afternoon. Nasty breaking ball for the strikeout, 2 away. Email the booth time, presented by carsoup.com. Do you think Clint Hurdle is the right man for the Pirates job. That's Kent in Youngstown, Ohio. Al, I'll ask you.
I really do. And I made that statement when they showed up in the first series here in St. Louis way back in April. You know, Clint has got a really upbeat personality. He can really handle the media, and you know, he's got a gift for words, and so I think he can, you know, he can accommodate the media and kind of twist them and guide them the way he wants them. He can talk to these young players and really get them to believe in their own ability, and he'll back it up with his, you know, his hard work with his coaches and everything. So right now, I think he's the right guy for the job. First 3.5 months, he looked like a genius. But he's also stated, you know, when they've fallen off the cliff, you know, that this is going to make us a lot better as a ball club going through this experience.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Josh Harrison at the plate. Solid series thus far against St. Louis as we wrap it up today. Full count with 2 outs and nobody on. And a ground ball deep in the hole for a Cow. Tough play, and Harrison can run, so beats it out. But good effort from Rafael Furcal. Made a tremendous play to start the ball game yesterday. He can still pick it out.
Yes, he can. And Cardinals were hopeful there's an option for Furcal. Hopefully they can get that bat come alive. But he missed 63 games with a broken left thumb and an oblique strain. So he shows a great range, but the speed of Harrison, you kind of wonder, you know, I mean, playing third now, not the power that you'd like from a corner infield spot, but he also is a second baseman, but they got Neil Walker there.
2 outs, runner at first for Ronnie Cedeno. Foul tip. Nothing in 2, the count on Cedeno. Laird wants it outside. We saw that Harrison has speed, but is only
attempted 3 steals, 2 of them successful.
Check swing and a strikeout of Cedeno. Strikes out 3. And we head to the bottom of the 6th. Followed by Corey Patterson, has moved to the on-deck circle. He'll pinch hit for Zubchinski. Then John Jay. Laird is 0 for 2. He's popped out twice. Once to short, other time to second.
Kyle McClellan warming up in the bullpen. Picked up 3 wins in relief to go along with his 7 as a starter. And you see Kyle got his 10th win the other night with 2 perfect innings.
On 2-0, it's a fly ball into right field. Laird is 0 for 3. Zubchinski, a walk and 3 strikeouts. And again, impressive. He's been very, very good. Fly ball out to left. Patterson is out number 2. Cardinals picked up 3 runs in the first, 1 in the third, 1 again in the fourth, and they lead this ball game 5-4.
Jay's couple hits today. And Chris LaRue is he's started right where he left off on Thursday. He had 2 2/3 scoreless innings. He's at 2 1/3 right now. Excuse me, 2 right now.
Jay, a 2-hit afternoon. Single, doubled, also grounded out to second.
Average at 299, a hit away from the magic 300. Just feels so much better when you hit 300, don't you?
And he did that a year ago, and he's even talked about that, how important it was for him to finish up at 300. One ball and 2 strikes. Tony La Russa, remember at the end of the season, Ryan Ludwig was at 299. Pinch hit for him. So he finished up the year 299, and Tony said he felt awful. Didn't realize that's where he was. And a swing and a miss. That will send us to the 7th. The Cardinals on top. It's 5-4. McHenry. Looks like Diaz is on deck. And Tabata against Kyle McClellan. Cardinals bullpen trying to hold this lead for Kyle Loesch. Loesch 5 innings today, 4 runs, 6 hits, 1 earned run in 99 pitches today. Chopper to third. Freeze spins and throws high. Safe at first.
As cleat caught as he tried to spin and throw, and that's what steered the ball high. And Berkman at the other end got up, got back down. Watch him turn right here when you see that little split where his cleat caught. Berkman got up, came down on the bag, but they ruled that Henry had beat it out, and he does. Didn't miss the bag, just in front of him. Pinch runner.
Chase Darno. Darno with very good speed, so McHenry reaches on the air by Freeze.
They'll pull back Diaz and Xavier Paul. He popped up earlier in the pinch hitter bat in this series.
Top of the 8th, and Milwaukee leads Chicago 3-1. Avery McLaughlin has made her way into the booth.
She's dressed up the booth quite a bit.
Yes, she has.
Nick Lave over at third, flashing the signs to both Paul and Darno, the runner at first.
And the runner started, then stopped, hit down the left field line and foul. Darno is good enough to steal it on his own. He's got tremendous speed. Not necessarily sure where he'll play on an everyday basis, but they like him a lot.
And consider maybe their shortstop of the future.
He'd be in that conversation. He's from Pepperdine. Last year, full season at AAA. 1 ball, 1 strike. Not running. 2-1. So here's the traditional count. You might see running or hit and run, 2 balls and 1 strike.
And it became such a traditional hit and run count, and nobody runs on it anymore. I think we could come up with some of Yogi Berra-isms. You know, that it's almost like nobody goes there anymore because it's so crowded. I mean, nobody runs on this count anymore that you could probably start running on it and catch teams napping.
There he goes, and the pitch is driven into right. That's Schumacher out there now. Makes the catch, and there's 1 away. Back to the top of the lineup, Jose Tabata. Singled and scored in the first, ground out in the second that resulted in an RBI, and then was caught looking back in the 5th. 1 for 3. There goes Darno. Chance for Laird, and he didn't get him. Stolen base. That's the tying run in scoring position. Good throw here by Laird.
Yep, good throw, but clearly safe at second base. Slides in there and touches the base, and then the knee stays on the base.
Chopper to Freeze. Throws a bullet over there to Berkman for the out. 2 away. Alex Presley hits from the left side as walked, singled, and grounded out. McClellan gives you the flexibility out, really, if you wanted to. Certainly extend him 2 innings, but maybe even 3.
Well, no doubt. He made 17 starts. And then when Edwin Jackson was acquired, moved him to the bullpen.
Foul tip and strike 1.
Cardinals have great confidence in McClellan's ability to get left-handed batters out.
Breaking ball, and that's strike 2. Oh, 2 is back to McClellan. Good work. Underhands to Berkman. Time to stretch for Cowell coming up. 5-4 in favor of the Cardinals. Ryan Doumit takes over behind the plate. Cardinals about hit Pittsburgh 9-7 in this ball game, and Rafael Furcal will lead it off.
Chris Resop is taking over on the mound here in the 7th. So a new battery. Resop's appearing for the 65th time. 58 2/3 innings. A hit per inning, strikeout per inning. Allowed 7 home runs, but they have a pretty solid bullpen right now, anchored at the end by their all-star closer, Hanrahan.
Yeah, he's been great.
Barris has been very good in the 8th inning.
Remember, Al, last year was Octavio Dotel who was the closer. First plate appearance for Furcal. Breaking ball and a strike. Underway here in the bottom of the 7th. 5-4 St. Louis. Arthur Rhodes, well-traveled lefty, getting loose. You wanted more work. Well, Tony La Russa will do that for you. Here's a 1-1 pitch. Jaime Garcia in the bullpen today, just relaxing out there.
I'd say, if you know, with him skipping his turn, he may be in the bullpen.
Yeah.
Hopefully we don't need him, but could be available. And could be available for the first couple days of the Milwaukee series, depending on when his next start is.
Here's a 3-1 pitch too for Cowell. Slaps it the other way and out of play. The Cardinals would be inclined to bring Furcal back, not at the option, which I believe is at $12 million, but to see if tear that up and see if he'd negotiate something to come back. Furcal draws a leadoff walk.
But then I think before that happens, I think we still have to see. You know, I mean, he's been playing long enough now that I know he had a lot of injuries with the Dodgers, missed 63 days, but now he's, you know, playing 4 or 5 weeks. Find out what he does this last month to see if he has enough left in the offense. No question, defensively, he's helped the club.
Here's Holiday, who doubled.
Sitting on 298 career steals is for call.
Back when he first came up, boy, he was so exciting to watch. Steal, had a little pop in his bat, great range, cannon for an arm. There he goes, good jump. And he is out. Ryan Doman got him.
You know, Doman doesn't throw a lot out, but recently we've been seeing a lot of stronger throws from Doman. Sliding head first, looked like he was going to get underneath the tag, and looks like he did get the body before he got to the base. Not the way you saw it?
Yep. Up and into Holiday, 95 miles an hour. Holiday, high fly ball, right center. Track to the wall. It is off the wall. Holiday in with a double.
Second double of the day, and he's up to 33 in that department. Just missed his 20th home run by a couple feet.
Nissan drive of the game.
Oh, right down the middle of the plate. McCutchen, great range, leaping ability, but he was off the mark as that ball was more in right center. Surge, the pitching coach for Pirates, out to talk to Resop, whose last win was August 16th versus St. Louis.
Just watching initially when Holiday came out of the box, I think he thought that was a home run, obviously. Look at that.
Yeah, he thought it was a home run, and now he gets down, he coasts into second base. I don't think he would have gotten to third, but it looks better when you hustle. Intentional pass to Berkman. Daniel McCutchen. Use him a lot. He's warming up in the bullpen. Resop is second in appearances for Clint Hurdle's team.
So the second intentional walk to Berkman, and the other was back in the first.
3-walk day for the 2 intentional passes to Berkman.
So the intentional pass back in the first to Freeze, or rather to Berkman, brought up Freeze to load the bases, and he hit a slow ground ball that resulted in an out, but an RBI. He's also struck out and walked back in the 5th. Runners at first and second. Outfield is straight away. One down. That was for Kyle, who was caught stealing. Line drive and foul.
Freeze 3 for 15 on the homestand. And a little modest 3-game hitting streak as he's 3 for his last 11.
One pitch on its way. Two one, now make it 2-2. Two pitch, 2 freeze.
Three-two pitch, 1 out. Runners at first and second.
Here's a 3-2 pitch. Runners are going, and it's line foul. Well, trying to make something happen here in this inning, starting the runners on a 3-2 with 1 down. Also for Kyle was caught stealing. What does the right-hander want to do here? Runners go, and it's fouled away. Pitch at 95 from Reesop. McCutchen getting loose in the bullpen for Pittsburgh.
Arthur Rhodes for the Cardinals, but Cardinals by far lead the major leagues hitting into double plays. So you can understand why they sent the runners. Last time in Pittsburgh, we had this scenario, and they sent the runners. The batter hit into a line drive double play. If you didn't sign the runners, the batter hit into a ground ball double play.
3-2 pitch, runners go. Fouled back again by David Freese. And again, they're off with a pitch. Foul back again. Fun at bat right here.
Good at bat, and try and throw 1 speed, right on it. And you throw an off-speed pitch. Breaking ball, still fouling it off.
Another 3-2 pitch.
That's what you have to watch out for, is you have to make sure before you start running that the pitcher does deliver the ball to the plate.
Three-two pitch. Runners go. Broken bat. Little flare. Base hit. Run will score. That's Holiday. And David Freese wins the battle. What a terrific at bat by David Freese.
Oh, a real good pitch, but nothing to show for it. So he breaks the bat of David Freese, but David just muscles it. And Walker tried to time his jump, had to miss that ball just by inches. So the ball running inside, shatters the bat. Watch the second baseman, Walker. Oh, just by the narrowest, just above the glove, and looks like Hurdle's going to make a pitching change.
McCutchen will come in when we come back. 6-4 thanks to David Freese. The Cardinals have come through trying to make it 3 wins out of 4 against Pittsburgh. David Freese, that's one of the better at bats we've seen all year.
And second RBI of the game. First one with a hit. The first one was on an infield ground out. He's walked, been on base 3 times in a lengthy at bat. Cost him at bat, but he got a big RBI and another run cushion. Daniel McCutchen appearing for the 61st time. You see his numbers. One thing, he's been scored upon twice in the last 10 games. But he has allowed just 4 of his 31 inherited runners to score this season. Batters are batting .249 against him. How about those numbers on the homestand for Skip?
Tell you what, Al, I said it earlier. Last month or so, you make case he's been your best player.
Well, and he just, so hard on himself when he does something wrong, but he hadn't done something wrong for a while.
And a pitch it's taken outside. 1 ball, no strikes on Schumacher. Well, check swing, hit to the right side. And Schumacher, by putting it in play, drives in a run. 7-4.
Couple RBIs that way this afternoon. Schumacher, his second RBI. And 33. Freese was at first base, and you watch him trying to time it, make sure he doesn't run into an out. Also, Walker looked to see, he's got all this momentum going towards first base, looked to see if he had to play at the reverse and throw the ball back and see if he could get an out at second base, and took the easy out in front of him.
Terrio 2 for 3, started at short, moves to second, and here we go. First pitch to him.
That Terrio's played much better defensively at second base than at shortstop this year. But he is as advertised. He knows how to play the game. He's just kind of a grinder. Early in the season, he really worked the counts as a leadoff hitter, and first 2 guys in the order a lot of times set the stage for the big 3. And of late, the Cardinals at times have had trouble getting the first or second men on base. Right, Tony keeps on flirting with his lineup.
1 ball, 1 strike. Swing and a miss. Runner at second is David Freese. 1-2 pitch. 2-2. This afternoon has the feel of a late summer, late season game, doesn't it?
The unfortunate, they're really not playing for much.
Terrio hits it in the air. Be in foul territory, and no one gets to it. Tabata, you can see at the very end of his run, looked up just for a second, slowed him up.
He looked to make sure that he wanted to see where, where the infielders were. So there you can see there he looked to see where the other guys were. And it was just well placed. Nobody was going to reach it. New life. Terrell's had a good day with 2 for 3 and a couple RBIs.
Two. Held up just enough. Pittsburgh was able to get to Carpenter yesterday. The Cardinals able to knock out their starter early. Karstens 3 2/3. Trying to add to the lead here. Time called by Terrio. Runners at first and second. Laird be the hitter with runners at first and second.
Albert Pujols moves to the on deck circle. Crowd will start reacting to that.
Pitch outside to Laird. Laird has popped out twice. He's flied out 0 for 3. Two balls and no strikes.
Visited by the Pirates pitching coach again.
Sure, it's a simple reminder that Albert Pujols is on deck, so you might want to get this guy.
Hey, you're falling behind 2-0. Don't be telling me you want to face Pujols.
The 2-0. Laird drives it into right. And the catch is made. Cardinals strand 2. They pick up 2 and they lead it by 3. It's 7-4. The Arch, downtown St. Louis, and second inning of work for Kyle McClellan. 7-4 in favor of St. Louis. McCutchen will lead things off, followed by Walker and Jones. So big inning here. Cardinals up by 3, and the big bats coming up. McCutchen has singled, picked up an RBI back in the first. Hit into a fielder's choice and also grounded out. Nasty breaking ball from Kyle McClellan.
Knee bender. Yellow hammer. Drop, whatever you want to say. It's like you say, it gets your attention. That curveball he can whip up there.
0-2 pitch. There's another one.
That one not quite as good, but still. After McCutchen, I just had a conversation with John Mozela, Cardinal general manager.
Fly ball lined into right, and the catch made by Schumacher.
We always talk about a general manager today has no off season. It's just they're constantly, whether it's in season or during the game. I said, what time do you get to the ballpark? He says about 5:30 in the morning. I like to work out and get to my desk at 8 o'clock in the morning. Looks like maybe a double switch. But he goes, then I stay through the day, the game, and then after the game I talk to Tony. So, I mean, where's the sleep?
Not much. Rhodes coming in. It's 7-4 with one out here in the 8th.
Here in the 8th inning, and Arthur Rhodes will be taking over. See his numbers with Texas before the trade: 3-3, 4.81 ERA, 7 appearances. That one loss came in Pittsburgh on the 16th of August. He stranded 2 base runners. He got a couple outs, and then a walk-off home run by Garrett Jones, who is the on-deck hitter. Descalso now playing third base, part of the double switch. Turn Walker around, who is 0 for 2, pair of strikeouts and a walk.
Ball 1 to Walker. 1 out, nobody on.
It's the 889th career appearance for Rhodes.
Amazing, isn't it?
Been around a long time. Doesn't throw as hard as he once did, but still has a good breaking ball, and his reputation and just his presence on the mound still intimidates certain hitters.
Here's a 2-0 pitch. Ripped to third and off the glove of Descalso. Welcome to the ball game. Tough play.
Right at him, but as you said, just a BB right at the new third baseman. Comes in the game, part of a double switch. Scored a base hit. Half a step to his right, off his glove.
Nick Leyba down at third.
It is the big leagues, and I know it was hit like a rocket.
One out, runner at first. Did you happen to catch Tony's radio show this morning?
About the first 5 minutes. What did I miss?
A couple callers, and he does welcome differing opinions. He doesn't mind if callers disagree with him. There was a few that got after him a little bit, but he was very patient.
I think Tony doing those Sunday morning radio shows has really won over a lot of fans. His well thought out explanations.
Well, that's the thing. I think if you listen to him, and baseball is a game of second guessing, no doubt. We do it all the time. But if you listen to his explanations, it's not something that's just on a whim.
Right. And I've always said that, when you talk to him, you still may disagree with it. And of course, like in the flashback when he brought in Arthur Rhodes, and there he hangs a breaking ball August 16th, is in the 11th inning, and a walk-off home run. Just one of how many this year? I think there's been something like 21 walk-off hits against Cardinal pitching.
And this could be a double play. Wow. What a double play. Wow. Closer for the Pirates is Joel Hanrahan, and he'll come into the ball game with the Pirates trailing by 3.
First appearance in the series, right? So
correct.
He needs some work. He's had a little struggles of late, but just great numbers. All-star closer, 1.73 ERA. You see the strikeouts, just a hard thrower. Picked up struck out 3 at 5 batters, picking up his 32nd save of the year on Wednesday. Suffered his second loss in 3 days. It was about the third week in August 21st. Not a couple runs in 2/3 of an inning.
Descalso leads it off. How about that double play started by Arthur Rhodes?
Arthur Rhodes, senior citizen, hard hit ball right back in him, and then showed a little athleticism, getting the ball to shortstop. And from that point on, Furcal's arm did the rest.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of charging a hard hit ball.
Right. So here it is. Double play started by Arthur Rhodes.
Arthur in his 40s gets the ball and kind of still all in one motion, a little bit off balance, and he throws the ball to Furcal. And as I said, he completed it pretty easy at that point.
1-1 pitch. Strike. Hanrahan was traded over to the Pirates, part of the Niger Morgan deal from Washington.
And I was talking with Steve Blass, and we're talking about T. Plush, Niger Morgan's alter ego. And he said, well, he started that in Pittsburgh, but it really didn't catch on here.
I don't remember him ever being like that when he was with the Pirates, how he is now.
Well, I think he was just beginning to formulate that personality. I will say this, he's come with a little checkered past, but remember the Cardinals had a real problem with him throwing a forearm at Brian Anderson, scoring a run when there was no play, and run-ins with other teams. But he's been a real plus for Milwaukee.
He sure
has helped
has.
them out.
Jay flies out, and here is Furcal. Pittsburgh will have Harrison, Cedeno, and Doman due up. Now he's speaking of Niger Morgan, he's a former hockey player. He actually played with Barrett Jackman growing up in Canada. Barrett plays for the Blues. Two-0 on Furcal. This will send us to the ninth, and the Cardinals on top by the score of 7-4.
Edition of Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live. Pat Paris and Rick Horton are at the Stadium Sports Bar and Grill at Lumiere Place. Rick tells us what we learned this month in Cardinal baseball, plus Cardinal player reaction straight from the clubhouse, and Tony La Russa's post-game thoughts as well. Jason Mott on to pitch for the Cards, and we go back to the booth, and Dan and Al, guys.
Okay, Jim, thanks. Great job as always. And here's Jason Mott. 62nd appearance and a 1.73 ERA. Look at that. He's only given up 36 hits in his 52 innings.
And he's had 16 consecutive scoreless appearances, gaining his 18th total, and he's allowed only 4 base runners during that stretch. 13 in the third innings, 2 walks, 1 hit batter.
Fastball and a strike to Harrison. This could be your future closer.
Could be. I mean, you know, Lance Lynn, you know, they'd love to see him this last month and see how he handles closing. But Jason Mott, you know, at the beginning of the season, he was not ready. Tony still doesn't think he's quite ready yet, but he's making a lot of improvements.
Jason telling me the other day in the minor leagues, the hardest hit that he got was the one that he took from Prince Fielder. Here's for Kyle deep in the hole, and an out. And at that time, Jason Mott was a catcher, and he said he has a picture of it still. His father has it. And Al, said he took such a hard hit from Fielder on a collision at the plate, he wound up on the grass. And he said behind, in the background of the picture, there's a lady with, so frightened by the shot that you can see her putting her hands towards her face, and the one next to her, the guy's going crazy with his hands up.
Well, some of the best ones I can remember is Langford running over Darren Dalton.
Oh, man.
Jack Clark running over Mike Scioscia.
Yep.
You know, maybe one of the most famous was Pete Rose in the All-Star game, hurting Fosse and really hampering and, you know, and really pretty much ending his career.
That's right. There's that secondary pitch. I asked Jason if it's a slider or a cutter, and he said, well, a little bit of both.
Yeah.
I said, okay, that's good enough for me.
It has improved over the course of the year. That was by design. They wanted that one there to change the eye angle, get him to go up the ladder, and have Cedeno swinging a ball that you can't make contact or can only pop up. And at times, you know, he'll throw a sinker. Jason Mott is what he is, and right now it's that, you know, all or nothing. Just go out there and throw the ball by people. I think maybe in the effort to try and find that breaking ball, he may get a little movement, you know, on his fastball too. Just a little fingertip pressure one way or another off the side of a seam. And you can see there he went to another off-speed pitch. Old-fashioned hard ball, fastball away.
Got him. Cardinals 1 out away from taking 3 of 4 against Pittsburgh. Our player of the game is Kyle Loesch. If the Cardinals get that final out, it's 100 career wins for Loesch. Budweiser player of the game.
Struggled in innings 1 and 2, but went out there to put up 3 zeros through 5 innings, and not only the 100th win, but also his 12th victory.
This should do it. Cardinals win it 7-4. They take 3 of 4 against Pittsburgh. Another scoreless inning and appearance for Jason Mott.
This one gets a save.
Post-game show coming up next.